Hello everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I am going to be reviewing Setanta whistles, which have come in this gigantic bag. I actually have a set of 3 low whistles and a set of 3 high whistles. So today I'm going to be reviewing the low whistles, and you will be able to see the review of the high whistles later on this week, so do stay tuned for that. And Setanta whistles are made in Ireland by a gentleman called John. I will leave all the details for where you guys can buy these in the description below this video. It's not sponsored. These whistles have been sent to me so that I can review them honestly, and all these opinions are my own. But yeah, do check out the websites in the link below if you guys are interested in these whistles. Inside the bag, there are 4 slots, 2 here where you could keep large whistles. There's this padded section in the middle, and there's 2 other slots here. And as you can see, each individual whistle comes in its own plastic casing. And this particular set comes with 1 fipple head and 3 interchangeable tubes. So you have the 1 mouthpiece and 3 different keys of whistles within this set that you can play altogether. If you have a look on the website, as I said in the description below, you'll see that you can click through and choose the sets that you'd like, or you can buy these individually. You can see the current prices on screen right now, and these are the prices when this video was made. These prices obviously might change as we move forward, but currently these are the prices of these whistles. The set itself can be anywhere from around €350 to €550, depending on whether you choose 1 head or whether you choose to have all 3 heads for the set. Now, I've got a D whistle, an E flat whistle, and an E whistle. The head at the moment is on the D whistle, so I'll get that out to show you. Now, as you can see, it is a long, large whistle. D whistles often are when they're low whistles. It is a straight bore whistle made from alloy. It's quite a wide bore whistle, but that's pretty standard for a low D. It's not any wider than my other low D whistles, so that's good. Although metal, it's not particularly heavy at first feel, and the mouthpiece itself, as I've said, is removable. Now, the joint on these whistles has 3 rubber notches here. This is so that you can tune the whistle, but also to hold that mouthpiece in place and to make sure that no air comes out of the mouthpiece when you interchange and when you slide it around. These whistles are tunable slightly, so you will be able to play with other instruments and adjust the tuning on these. The mouthpiece itself is very neatly designed, thicker here where the Setanta logo is, which is a very nice design and nice touch. There are initials on the back just to mark the maker, and also you can see here as well the nice finish on the blade. The mouthpiece shape is narrow and quite long on the top here, very smooth fipple here, all made from the alloy, and it's actually very comfortable in the mouth. Taking a look at the main body of the whistle, you can see this is pre-greased. You also have the rubber rings here, as I've mentioned. Going down, you can see the holes are quite large. Larger than some other low whistles I have. The finger spacing on the bottom hole between the 5th and 6th is quite a distance, but still reachable for me. The only slight change that I've noticed is on this particular D whistle, the top 3 holes are a little further apart than I'm used to, so I do need a full piper's grip to play the low D whistle. Now, with most low D whistles I own, and basically with all the low whistles I own, I only personally ever use a half piper's grip. So I use my finger pads like I do on every high whistle for the top hand, and then I use piper's grip on the bottom hand. But for the Setanta low D whistle, I do actually really need the piper's grip top and bottom in order to cover the holes effectively. I find that because the holes are quite large, I do lose a little bit of air, a little bit escapes on the 2nd hole, especially if I don't adopt the full piper's grip. Now, personally, I'm not used to playing with a full piper's grip, so this was a bit of a shock to me when it arrived. It has been difficult. I've been trying to retrain myself to do the full piper's grip, so you will have to bear with me a little bit on this because I am out of practice on that. But in a moment, I will give you an idea of how this whistle sounds. Now, The E flat and E whistles, I haven't ordered these with the additional whistle head, so I would have to interchange this head onto these whistles to play the full set. The E whistle, which is the smallest of the three, the bore length is obviously a little shorter than the D whistle. As you can see, the D whistle's bore would be up here, so we're quite a little bit shorter on the bottom there. This is the highest of the three whistles in pitch. I can manage this easily with my usual top hand, and I always piper's grip on the bottom anyway. So for me, the E whistle is far easier to play than the low D, but that will often be the case for people with smaller hands. The higher whistles will be easier to play than the lower whistles. The E flat is obviously somewhere in between the two whistles. Again, all the features that you've seen on the others. The nice imprint here on the bottom for the Setanta whistle. The E flat is a little larger, so I would probably need piper's grip on this as well. I can reach with my top three pads, although I think I'd probably lose a little air. So these are the three whistles. We have the D, the E flat and the E. As you can see on the D whistle, the second hole is a little larger than on the E whistle, for example, and the finger spacing is a little bit larger again, and that is why I've mentioned on these two whistles I do need the piper's grip top and bottom hand, although on the E whistle I can get away with just on the bottom hand. The bore sizes of all three are very similar. Obviously, this is so that the whistles can also fit on the top with the same mouthpiece. So I'm going to give these a quick play for you, starting with the E, moving on to the E flat and finally the D, and just give you guys an idea of how they sound, raw sound, and then I'll also add a little bit of mastered, edited sound afterwards so you guys can hear what I would usually do with the sound that I record. It's my personal preference, doesn't mean you guys have to like it or do it yourselves, but this is usually what I do in a review. So yeah, let's start with the E. So as you can hear, guys, with the E whistle, it's a very easy blower. You don't need a lot of breath to get right the way up into the second octave. You can get all the way up a full 2 lots of scales and play that high E on this whistle. Very, very impressive. It's responsive, it's easy to play. You can get a lot of half holes. You don't have any problems with slides or ornaments with this. It also plays very strongly in the lower notes, which is a great thing for a lot of whistles. Some of them lose their volume on the lower notes, but this is actually pretty punchy on the bottom. You can get a good range of volume on that bottom note. So yeah, overall very impressive. I did find slightly that although this had been warmed up briefly, there was a little bit of not clogging so much, but texture appeared in the sound of the whistle as you play. So just be sure to warm these whistles up fully before you get started and give them a good shake out in between your songs. Next up, we have the E flat whistle. This is how it sounds. Again, easy to get that range of notes on this whistle all the way up into the second octave for the high E flat. A little easier to half hole on this because the holes themselves are slightly larger, but in general, very, very easy to play. What's nice about these obviously is that once you've warmed up your mouthpiece, you can interchange the whistle bores and you don't actually need to re-warm the whistle because the majority of the whistle warming required is in the mouthpiece. Also, no problems with additional weight or anything with the larger bore. These whistles are surprisingly light for metal whistles, although they are ridiculously sturdy. So yeah, great whistle for traveling, for playing, and getting that volume in the lower notes. And finally, the D whistle. As you guys could hear, I struggled a little bit with the finger spacing on this one. As I said, it is just me getting used to using the piper's grip with both hands. I would say that out of all the low D whistles I've tried, this probably is one of the largest finger spaces on the low D for the top hand that I've come across. But if you don't have problems with small hands or you don't have problems with thin fingers, then this really shouldn't be a problem. Also, it's just a case of getting used to the piper's grip in general. But yeah, overall, really, really great sounding whistles. For me, the only downside of the set of 3 with one fipple head or mouthpiece head is the fact that you do have to constantly keep swapping these over. I personally would worry a little bit about the integrity of the rubber rings and damaging perhaps the head or the top of the whistle here, and I don't know whether there would be leakage if anything happened to these rings or if they're replaceable. So personally, if you're considering buying, I would probably recommend getting 3 fipple heads, 3 whistle heads, so that you have one for each of your whistles. But if you do want a set of 3 different keys and you're on a budget, then, well, the one whistle head is the way to go. But yeah, overall, very impressed with these. They're not too loud, which means I can use them in the house, but they are definitely loud enough for playing in session. They've got a beautiful, warm, rich tone to them. They're ridiculously responsive, and I love them. They are well worth the price. So do check out the website, as I said, which I have listed in the description below. Head over, check these out. As I mentioned, I do have a set of 3 high whistles, which I'll show you guys later this week. So if you'd like to find out about those, if the video is already up and you're watching later than this week, then you'll find it here. If not, you'll find some other videos, and until then, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share if you haven't already, and happy whistling. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.